So what are we going to do about passing money on while I'm still cognitively intact and sign the papers? And it really would be legally valid if it's challenged. You know, most people don't do this for all kinds of reasons. People are in denial about illness. People are uncomfortable talking about it, even if they've accepted the illness. Most of us don't plan very far ahead, even when we don't have dementia. So people just kind of don't do this stuff. So in fact, you'll see all the time things are being done by people who are probably and certainly too far along in the dementing illness to actually do it legally. But as long as nobody challenges it, and nobody argues about it, it sort of works. And it's probably okay most of the time. So when it gets messy, it's a real mess. You know how to sort things out. Typical middle stages are where the cognitive impairment is really clear. This is when people are like misplacing their car, getting lost, failing to recognize people that they've known for years and decades. Probably starting to have some language problems, although it may only be noticeable to people that are really tuned into noticing it at this stage. And I think that there's sort of that universal agreement that something like a predominant consensus that most behavior problems are sort of in the middle stages where people are kind of moderately cognitively impaired. And this is where you see what we call wandering, which is usually people trying to go somewhere that they want to go that doesn't make any sense or that's dangerous. If people get aggressive, I think you tend to see aggressive behavior at this stage. The kind of annoying, repetitive question asking that tends to drive caregivers nuts. Is probably otherwise not particularly harmful. It tends to occur at this stage.
What about like obsessions, like inappropriate behaviors?
Am I supposed to read this something into the eyebrow?
My girlfriend's mother died of AD July 4th.
Uh-huh.
And for the past few years, the first thing that it was brought to my girlfriend's attention was that she wouldn't leave Neiman Marcus. So she loved going to Neiman Marcus, and she had lunch. And so she was there all the time, and it got to the point where the salespeople and the people in the restaurant needed her to leave because she was having behavioral problems. And then my girlfriend collected her there, and then it was that she went to her house. She saw the stick-it notes like covering every square inch, and that's when she said, "Oh my God, now I have a better idea of what's going on here." And her mom had like on every surface though, spelled out in pennies, her dentist's name, and she went to her dentist for a cleaning. like once every 2 weeks, and the dentist, he permitted it, and he kept charging her. He's obviously a bad guy.
That's
but I've been told that that's not so abnormal. These like love obsessions, these inappropriate love obsessions.
People just get stuck on something that for whatever reason they remember, or someplace that they're comfortable.
My girlfriend spread her ashes.
For whatever reason, you get these. You still have it in your head that going to the dentist for cleaning is a good idea, and you don't remember that you were there 2 weeks ago, so you go again and again.
No, for like 3 or 4 years.
I mean, if you don't remember, you don't remember. It's always the first time.
But the dentist abused that.
Huh? The dentist is at fault.
He's a bad guy.
So I'm saying from the person's with dementia standpoint, every time
she had his name spelled out in pennies, and she had her first name with his last name written out everywhere. No, it was.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting that some people who start showing some signs of dementia, that they're still strategizing, like they'll confabulate. So like they'll cover up the fact that they're forgetting things. So I always think that's an interesting side effect, that they're actually learning new things while they're forgetting other things to cover up.
Well, or just making stuff up.
That's one thing.
I mean, sometimes people do learn in dementia, although, well, until very late anyway, although it takes a lot longer. But people can learn some new things. But also people, if you ask somebody a question they don't know the answer to, they will often make up an answer to cover up for it. They don't know things.
They're very good. I'm just using one example of my godfather and some other family members, but very good at minimizing the fact they don't know.
Yeah.
So and it takes you longer as a family member, even someone who knows the person, to really see if they don't know, because it's interesting because they know that they know that you'll know, so they have to strategize to come up with a way to.
It also, I think, matters what decision the person with dementia thinks might be at stake. I mean, one thing that I've had a very different take on than many of my clinical colleagues about people with dementia is that there are a lot of people who don't believe that people with dementia know that they have dementia. And I've had lots of conversations with people with dementia about their dementia. And I think that some of the distinction is that because I was in community mental health, and I was typically either interviewing people in their own homes or in an office that was not at all hospital connected, that people felt much more comfortable talking to me. Whereas if you're talking to somebody who's wearing a white coat and you're in a hospital setting, it's not unreasonable to think that the nursing home decision might be in your future, and you'd be highly motivated not to talk to people about dementia. And yet people can be motivated to cover up for all kinds of reasons. You got to think about what that situation is. I think sort of late stages, the loss of language becomes more obvious, and you'll see smaller and smaller vocabularies and also simpler sentence structures, and more vagueness of the kind we were talking about earlier. People using lots of pronouns and lots of very generic words, and so it actually does become somewhat difficult to get a sense of what they're talking about. And the latter part of the late stages, people will often be down to a few words, sometimes even like one or two. And some of the more bizarre decision situations you get into is where, like, EMTs will refuse to put a person with very late dementia in the ambulance because when they say, do you want to go to the hospital, the person says no, and the only word that they can say is no. So it's not like the fact that they're saying no means anything. It's like, my daughter, when she was 2, no was her most common word she used. You tend to see more actual, ADL level functional problems at this level, and then also, I think you tend to get fewer behavior problems, and so in some ways, one of the things I think caregivers often find reassuring at the middle stages when they're wrestling with the behavior problems is that the behavior problems may in fact go away in a year or two. It's not always the case that they're going to keep doing this forever, and as the disease worsens, sometimes a person's behavior actually gets better exactly because their cognition is so bad that the things that were leading them into behavior problems kind of go away. Eventually they forget all about the dentist, or they forget all about the They couldn't remember how to get there if they did. End stage, I think at this point people are typically nonverbal, limited to no mobility. And then eventually, there's been this debate for a while about whether people can die from progressive dementia. And I think a lot of people die first from something else, but I think if you're very healthy and you live long enough, eventually it actually goes down into the brainstem and it interferes with swallowing and breathing, and eventually will die from that kind of condition. And Reisberg's notion that kind of follows these stages in terms of pathology is typically Alzheimer's pathology starts in the midbrain around the hippocampus area, goes front, and then up and back, and then down